Here's your wrestling news for November 20th, 2021. And your headlines for today include WWE continues elevating King Woods during SmackDown, real reason 3 WWE superstars were released finally revealed, WWE had big plans for Hit Row before release, many top promotions already interested in released superstar, why was Drake Maverick's release not a surprise to those backstage, WWE introduces new corrupt character on last night's SmackDown, Karrion Kross's first match post-WWE announced, Impact Wrestling launches huge charity project starting next week, and more. We are kicking off today with SmackDown, which once again saw King Xavier Woods receive a prominent position during the show. Despite the Roman Reigns vs. Big E match this Sunday, the Tribal Chief's focus was on Woods last night, and Reigns was initially cheered by the crowd. Those cheers quickly became boos when Paul Heyman said they didn't care about the material equipment that came with being King of the Ring and proceeded to destroy what Xavier Woods had been fighting to obtain for years. This infuriated Woods, who was then assaulted by the Bloodline, but was still able to challenge the Universal Champion to meet him one-on-one. This may have been a one-on-one encounter, but Woods realized that Reigns wouldn't keep that promise, and before the Usos could get involved, they were laid out by someone in the back. That someone was none other than WWE Champion Big E, who clashed with Reigns ahead of their match this Sunday. Big E's appearance got a huge pop from the crowd, but it also hinted that the New Day member wasn't going to win this Sunday, as those who stand tall on go-home shows rarely win when it matters. The highlight of this is the continued elevation of King Woods, who even without the crown, cape, and scepter, has proven himself a worthy King of the Ring. This week, WWE let 8 more wrestlers go, all explained as due to budget cuts. Just 2 weeks after B-Fab was released, reportedly because WWE didn't think she was needed in Hit Row, the rest of the stable was fired, and Isaiah Scott, Top Dollar, and Ashanti Adonis will now have to find work elsewhere. It turns out that budget wasn't the only reason for Hit Row's departure, as in The Observer, Dave Meltzer writes that Top Dollar had rubbed a ton of people the wrong way in NXT and had started doing the same on the main roster. Meltzer added that while Top Dollar was meant to be the star of the group, his reputation backstage proved to be too much to handle, and said that Scott and Adonis were caught in the crossfire when the decision to release Dollar was made. Now all 3 ex-superstars will have to wait 90 days before they can wrestle anywhere else, and Top Dollar may want to use some of that time reflecting on what got him a bad reputation behind the scenes. Before Top Dollar was put in charge, Hit Row was led by Isaiah Swerve Scott, who held the NXT North American Championship during his tenure in the group. That didn't save Scott from being released, but the former superstar won't be on the hunt for a new job for long. Fightful Select reports that Scott has been a major topic of interest for many of the biggest promotions around, which presumably includes both AEW and Impact Wrestling. In a tweet, Scott compared his life to a movie, saying he hopes Act 3 moves his career on to better things, and with several promotions already wanting to sign him, the future looks bright for the former North American champion. Hit Row's run on the main roster was incredibly short-lived as they made their debut on the Blue brand less than a month before they were released. Being released so quickly after their debut, fans would be forgiven for thinking WWE had no idea what to do with the group, but that's far from the truth. Fightful Select reports that Hit Row was one of the most discussed parts of SmackDown backstage before they were let go. As they note, "There were some significant creative pitches for Hit Row. We just haven't heard how far they got. There was plenty of back and forth internally as to who should lead as the singles talents in the group, if they should be faces or heels. Whatever plans WWE had for the group are useless now, as they were never given a chance to shine on WWE's main roster. But there was a time when WWE had even the slightest interest in the NXT call-ups, which is far more than what many superstars can say." Drake Maverick was also released by WWE this week, marking the second time he's been let go by the company. After the April 2020 cuts, Maverick's impassioned video alongside his incredible work ethic were able to earn him a job back in WWE, but those in WWE weren't surprised to see him cut this past Thursday. Dave Meltzer reports that Maverick's release wasn't a surprise because his name had been discussed in the run-up to the November 4th releases, which saw a total 18 superstars lose their jobs. Meltzer added that despite his in-ring ability and his genuine comedic timing, something that's especially rare in wrestling, Vince McMahon was never going to take him seriously because of his size. At 38 years old, Maverick doesn't fit into McMahon's new youth movement for the company, as WWE won't be hiring people in their 30s anymore, and the former 24/7 champion will have to find other promotions to hone his craft. Back to SmackDown, and the Blue Brand had an example of corrupt officiating, which isn't exactly a new concept. Fans saw crooked refs back in the 80s when Hulk Hogan lost the WWE Championship to Andre the Giant, and a very real crooked referee in Earl Hebner during the Montreal Screwjob. More recently, Scott Armstrong was the authorities' corrupt official during the Daniel Bryan saga, and now we have our first corrupt female referee. On SmackDown, Aja Smith was officiating a match between Naomi and Aaliyah against Natalya and Shayna Baszler, and despite Naomi kicking out of Natalya's pin after just one, Smith called for the bell, giving the heels the win. Backstage, Sami Zayn was seen speaking to Sonya Deville when Aja Smith approached, asking Deville if she did okay. The pair hinted that Smith had received a bribe for her efforts, but for any future corrupt referees watching, we'd recommend you don't admit to taking a bribe on live television. Either way, WWE has given Deville more heat as part of her ongoing war with Naomi, and we sense the former SmackDown Women's Champion is getting closer and closer to the big payoff. More release news is Karrion Kross was cut from WWE on November 4th in one of the more surprising releases this year. After a dominant run in NXT and shaky start to his Raw tenure, Kross had finally found his footing on the Red Brand, just in time to be released. We now know where Kross will be wrestling his first post-WWE match, as the WrestlePro promotion has confirmed that Kross will face Flip Gordon at their February 5th, 2022 show in Rahway, New Jersey. This won't be Karrion Kross who's competing, but Killer Kross, the former NXT champion's original name that, unsurprisingly, was changed per WWE's ban on certain words. This show will also mark Scarlett Bordeaux's first match post-WWE release, where she'll face Haley Cameron. Fellow WWE releasee Matt Cardona, formerly Zack Ryder, will also be on the show, and we'll have to see how Kross and Bordeaux do in their first matches after their non-compete clauses expire. And we're ending today with Impact Wrestling, who are running a food drive next week ahead of their November 22nd tapings. On Twitter, Impact announced a partnership with 3 Square Las Vegas, and the drive will take place at Sam's Town in Vegas. The first 50 fans who donate non-perishable food items will receive free admission to the taping, and everyone who donates food will get a meet and greet with Rosemary and Havoc. Impact has been much more stable since moving to AXS TV, and in the wake of WWE's recent releases and ROH temporarily closing its doors, the company will have plenty more options to sign. Until then, this food drive will make a ton of difference to those most in need in Vegas, and Impact's promise of free tickets and a meet and greet will hopefully lead to a ton of donations on Monday. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.